The Defense Department budget is one of the largest sections of that. And we need to redeploy those dollars, I agree with the questioner's point, back here in the United States. I think we can close some military bases. We can close those military bases around the world, be that in Iraq and Afghanistan. South Korea, for instance, we've been in South Korea for a very long time, Germany.
We have to make sure we're looking at legislation that's going to also reduce our deficit. We've passed legislation this year that helps small businesses, that reduces our deficit. We passed healthcare legislation that also reduces our deficit, that will help small businesses, that will make sure that we're providing tax incentives for small businesses as well.
Anybody for putting landmines on the border? Just kidding. I'm not for putting landmines on the border. I want to let everybody know that. The discussion that came up with that, came up with from a technical standpoint. Being an engineer, they talked about securing the border. We got to talking about that, and yes, we could secure the border. New Mexicans are very frustrated with our federal government. They have a responsibility. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Constitution of the United States clearly state the federal government has that responsibility to enforce immigration laws. When we allow policies where we have sanctuary cities, sanctuary jails here in Santa Fe County, we're missing common sense.
I appreciate the joke about landmines. It's nothing to joke about. The problem is that when people speak and when people have interviews and we present our views, please listen to those words. Because a lot of people say, well, I said this, but I didn't say that, or I said this and I didn't say that. And I think it's important that we have everyone take a close look at some of the statements that are made by us running for office and take a close listen to them.
The question was, would I be in favor of privatizing Social Security? And I would have to say yes to portions of that. I think that we need to maintain the Social Security promises and commitments that we have to seniors, and I've said this before, and those 50 years of age and older. But when we talk about the younger folks, my generation, I'm 41, we have to be honest that the promises that prior politicians have made with regard to the benefits to be paid for may not be there at the same level.
It's unfortunate that the Social Security Trust Fund was raided in years past to pay for tax breaks for the most wealthy in the country. It's an absolute shame. We need to make sure that we restore that trust fund, that we live up to our commitment to seniors, and that we make sure we're not trying to scare them. Right now, the benefits can be paid out through 2037. You'll continue to hear that something has to be done by tomorrow. I'm not saying there's not an urgency here, because there is an urgency. But we need to make sure that we're looking to protect the program. You're going to hear ideas of people that say, let's raise the age. There's some ideas out there that we need to work towards, but making sure we're replenishing that trust fund is first and foremost to make sure we look after our seniors' future.
Well, first of all, I'd like to do away with the Department of Education, so we would be doing away with No Child Left Behind. I think where we need to set the standard with regard to our educational system involves parenting. And it involves a standard. There's really I see two things. There's a lot of different silver bullets. If you compare New Mexico with the state of Florida, there's several studies that have been put out that discuss those items. But when you talk about education, children need to know how to read. I'm a huge supporter of libraries. We need to put books in homes and have children read them. So the parents, you have that responsibility for them to read.
And when we talk about our kids not being able to read at an early age, well, let's make sure we work together to have pre-K programs to get these kids exposed to reading at an earlier age. Let's make sure we work with our parents, because some parents are having to work 2 and 3 jobs just to get by. Where do those students go? We need after-school programs to work with them as well.
I'm an engineer, a registered professional engineer, a small business owner, father of 2, who's never run for office before, but I feel passionately about the Constitution of the United States and the proper role of the federal government. And I believe that the federal government has overstepped its authority and its bounds, and that we need to have constitutional conservatives back in office across the land.
The small businesses that have talked to us about being able to keep their doors open because of investments that were made with them through small business tax cuts or through grants that they've been able to receive through the Recovery Act. These are tough times. But the job loss numbers where they were going, economists from both spectrums, both from the left to the right, have all said that had we not done anything that we would have seen unemployment numbers at 16, 18, or 20%. We need to come together.